Can I call the Public Works meeting to order on February 13th, 2025 at 6:04 PM? Clerk, can I get a roll call, please?
Councilman Campiano,
Present.
Councilman Bonanno, Councilman Andujar,
Present.
Council Vice President Wall,
Here.
Councilwoman Horoyan,
Present.
Councilwoman Graziano,
Present. Thank you. Did anyone look over the meeting minutes? And can I get a motion to approve January 16th, 2025 meeting minutes?
Motion to approve. So moved.
Can I get a vote from the clerk, please? Oh,
Councilman Campiano.
discussion. Sorry, let me offer discussion. None. A vote from the clerk.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Bonanno, Councilman Andujar,
Yes.
Council Vice President Wall,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horoyan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Graziano.
Yes. Thank you. Committee business matters carried over. This evening, there are none. So I'm going to go ahead to public comment. I'm going to welcome the public to come up to the podium, say their name and address, and offer public comment on docketed items. May I please offer a 4-minute timer on each party participating?
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman, members of the Public Works Committee. For the record, my name is Robert Murray. I'm an attorney with offices at 21 Garden City Drive in Cranston. I'm here tonight on the matter on your agenda relating to the abandonment of a portion of Elmhurst Avenue. With me this evening is Mr. Brian White of 145 Wayland Avenue, Cranston. He is the petitioner of your abandonment petition. This matter is on your agenda for the resolution that was introduced at the January meeting. It has some history, so Madam Chairwoman, with your permission, I'd just like to, it's here this evening at my request in consultation with Mr. Verdecchio, because it was this abandonment petition was approved by the Public Works Committee in December, on December 5th. It was then sent to the City Council in December. You had the short month, so your meeting was December 16th, and we didn't have the formal resolution ready that evening. So at my suggestion, it was continued to the Public Works Committee meeting in January. It was then determined you needed a formal resolution. So that was introduced at the January 27th meeting, with appreciation to Councilman Campopiano for sponsoring that for Mr. White. I brought with me, I thought it'd be helpful, just a few exhibits that with your permission, Madam Chair, I'd like to just pass out to the committee. I think it might be helpful.
Permission granted.
Madam Chair, I think there should be a motion to accept those exhibits into the record.
Motion to accept into the record.
Second.
Can I get a discussion? May I please get a vote?
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Bonanno, Councilman Andujar,
Yes.
Council Vice President Wall,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horoyan, Councilwoman Graziano.
Yes.
Councilman took most of mine. I have a few more.
Can I ask a question? I mean, this is public comment, so should this be waiting until we have the docketed item on the agenda?
Whatever your pleasure. I didn't know where. When
Your discretion, if you want to get the public comment out of the way and then call this up.
Thank you, I would.
Okay.
Can we take a moment and see if there's any more public comment? I don't see any in chambers. Can I get anyone from Zoom, please?
A reminder, you please use the raise hand button. I'm seeing no public comment.
Okay, I'd just like to offer that public comment that was sent to me directly and then sent to the clerk's office. I just want to make a note that Drake Patton He is in Cranston, at Hurricane Hill Farm. He sent in some questions to the committee, and I just want to make a note that he had some concerns with the cost of the parcel being provided to a she had concerns with the cost of the parcel and giving parcels to the public. I want to see if the committee would entertain a motion to enter it into the record.
Motion to enter the public comment sent to you into the record.
Second.
Can I get discussion? Seeing none, can I get a vote from the clerk, please?
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Banano,
Yes.
Councilman Andujar,
Yes.
Council Vice President Wall,
Yes.
Councilwoman Haroyan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Graziano.
Yes. Okay, public comment has concluded. We have new matters before the committee, so this is a resolution for the approval of the petition for the abandonment of a portion of Elmhurst Avenue. The petitioner is Brian White and sponsored by Councilman Capapiano. Mr. Murray, you can come back up to the podium and present to the committee.
Thank you very much. I don't need it tonight, but at some point, maybe I could get a copy of Ms. Patton's email just so I could, if I need to respond to anything. Without going back over what I just said a moment ago, what I've presented to the committee and you've accepted is just a few documents to help certainly the new members of the committee be familiar with the background in this matter. The first sheet I gave was what I've titled the travel of the case, and that just explains that we started this in August with introduction of the abandoned petition. It was referred to Public Works. There was a public hearing in October, continued to November, and ultimately on December 5th, the Public Works Committee could approve the abandonment, made a recommendation of approval for the abandonment petition. Long story short, the council changed, some members changed in January, so we're back here tonight. A formal resolution, the process is a petition is filed, and then later a resolution is prepared. So what's before you tonight, and I don't think it has a number yet, but is the resolution that was introduced at the January meeting. Mr. White is an abutting property owner to a portion of Elmhurst Avenue, which is, for members of the committee, I provided a copy of the assessors map. I provided a copy of the abandonment sketch, which was submitted with the application. We're looking to ask the city council to abandon a 6,500 square foot parcel of land. On the assessors map, which is this document here, I've highlighted Mr. White's property in orange. The yellow hatched area is the portion of Elmhurst Avenue that would be abandoned, and the red outline identifies property owned by CGRI Cranston LLC, which is a Capianotto related entity. It is the Ocean State Job Lot property on Atwood Avenue. And that property is at a much lower level than the bed of Elmhurst Avenue. But if you were in the parking lot and look behind the building, you would see the top of Elmhurst Avenue. So what I did was I provided you 6 photographs, just if I could just walk through them quickly. The first one is the end of Elmhurst Avenue right today. I took that picture today. There's a guardrail where now it's already blocked off. It's a dead end. It drops down to what's called Wooddale Avenue, which you can see on the assessor's map. Looking at this photo with the dead end sign, to the right would be Mr. White's property, and to the left is the Capianotto property, the Ocean State Job Lot. The second photo is looking to the right of Elmhurst Avenue towards Mr. White's property. And you can see the back of his house on Wayland Avenue there. The third photo is the Capianato property, you can see the back of Ocean State Job Lot, it drops down, and you can see the guardrail at the end of Elmhurst Avenue. The fourth photo is just another picture so you can get a sense of the drop in the elevation down to the Ocean State Job Lot property. The fifth photo is a clearer picture of the back of Mr. White's house. He has gotten permission to build a duplex on the land behind his house. That's already in place, and I'll explain the reason why we're asking for the abandonment. And then the last picture, okay, which is a little deceiving, I apologize, it's not my forte. I took this picture at the bottom of Wooddale Avenue looking up to Elmhurst. So you can see through the trees, the back of the job lot. Wooddale, as I said, Elmhurst Avenue drops down precipitously to Wooddale. And I took that at the bottom of Wooddale looking up. And so a long story short here is that the topography of Elmhurst Avenue, first of all, it's not even drivable. It's treed and it drops off. So in terms of this would benefit Mr. White in the following way if the city council approves the abandonment. First, let me just back up, and I know Mr. Vadecki is here to advise you. For the members of the committee, in an abandonment situation, when the city council determines that a road or driftway is no longer needed for public purposes, under the law, you have the right to abandon it. By operation of law, when you abandon a property, each side of the road picks up one half. So in this instance, if you abandon this, half of Elmhurst Avenue will go towards Mr. White, and the other half would go towards the Capianato group, CGRI Atwood. Okay, so he is petitioning it. We provided, and I have more copies tonight, a letter from the Capianato group saying they did not oppose in fact, support the abandonment. They have no objection to it. If members need, I have extra copies with me this evening, but I think it's already in the record. If the council approves this resolution ultimately, what will happen is, first, Mr. White will pay $15,000 to the city, which was the value determined by the tax assessor of this portion of Elmhurst Avenue. He will pay the full $15,000, even though he's only getting half the road. And an administrative subdivision would be prepared in consultation with the planning department to, we would get a deed from the purchasing agent, we'd pay the money, we'd get a deed from the purchasing agent, and an administrative subdivision would be approved and recorded so that half of the road goes to Mr. White and the other half goes to the CGR group. The other factor in this matter, and I'm almost done, is that the resolution before you speaks to certain easements, okay? Right now, as we speak, as we stand here tonight, there is a sewer line in this portion of Elmhurst Avenue. It was put in, Mr. White was involved because he did some of the work and he has knowledge of it. It served the Citizens Bank on Atwood Avenue, okay? So when you abandon the public rights in a road, you're not giving up the private rights anybody has. So the abandonment would be subject to that sewer line, okay? And there will be easements needed because Mr. White is going to pay to extend the water line down Elmhurst Avenue to his lot. And so an easement, because the road would be private, that portion, Capianato and Mr. White will give the Providence Water Supply Board an easement in case they ever need to get in there to fix the water line. The And the last thing is there would be an easement granted to Rhode Island Energy or Narragansett Electric, or if there are any utilities in that portion of the road. I don't believe there are. So what's there today is preserved in terms of the sewer line, which right now is only servicing the Citizens Bank property. The reason Mr. White came forward, and this was explained at the the hearing, was he's ready to proceed forward with the construction of his duplex. The Providence Water Supply Board, because of where his house is situated, proposed house is situated, they require you to come in at a 90-degree angle with the water line. He's not able to do that presently, and they don't like to have jogs in their water lines. So that's what the basis of the abandonment was. If the city council abandons it, he'll then be able to extend the water and then with a 90-degree angle, go towards the duplex with the water line, and that'll meet to the satisfaction of the Province Water Supply Board. So that's the whole genesis of this abandonment petition. So I don't think I have anything else to say. I'd be happy to answer any questions, but that's the background. I hope it was helpful to the committee.
Okay, thank you. As we know, Council President Marino couldn't be here, but I wanted to offer up some comments that she provided to me, being her surrogate. Council President knew that she had some concerns regarding the proposed resolution. I just want to confirm and get it on the record that the proposal is for the applicant to pay $15,000 to the city of Cranston for the parcel.
That is correct.
Thank you. There is concerns that she does not find this acceptable to the taxpayers of Cranston. All real estate has value and she wants to support the transfer. She does not want to support the transfer and abandonment without proper compensation. So she just wanted to confirm that that was the cost. She has not seen this situation, abandonment in property, and she's asking who originally initiated this abandonment.
Mr. White did.
And when was it initiated? In October 2024?
I wasn't involved in the initial introduction. I got involved after, but it was introduced to the city council on August 26, 2024. That's when it was filed.
Okay, thank you. And you mentioned that the city or the administration was involved in this discussion. Do you know what their level of involvement was?
I don't know if I specifically said that, but this petition was referred to the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission made a positive recommendation to the City Council on this abandonment. So we've worked with the Public Works Department and the Planning Department on this.
Okay, thank you. If the committee doesn't mind, go ahead with my comments. Oh, Dan?
It might be a good idea to take a motion so we could actually have discussions as a committee.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it for the sake of discussion.
Okay, discussion? Thank you. So, I mean, I have concerns with regards to, just so you know, my background is I work for a municipality. So generally the way that I would operate is I would have these easements already set up. My concern is that we're doing the easements after the fact. We don't know, I mean, first of all, we have no idea of the width of the easement required by the water department. There seems to be some uncertainty about which energy, electrical or gas goes through there. I guess I'm concerned that nobody had dig safe out there to determine what's actually in the ground. I would never recommend to my DPW to accept an abandonment without having a draft easement set up to be able to reference in the title transfer. That's my first concern. My second concern is that DPW also, well, excuse me, Ed Talley commented that there is no existing sewer easement, and that concerns me as well, and I guess I don't understand. So Citizens Bank sewer, it must connect to the city's sewer at some point. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me, knowing how sewers work. It's not a private sewer system in the middle of our right of way.
I'm happy to answer your question. You want to do them as you go along, you want to ask them all, and then we'll ask, we can respond to the first one and this one. It's entirely up to you. I want to follow your lead.
Sure, let's do this. Okay, so, I mean, I don't know that I'm asking a question when I'm making a statement. My comfort level is to have the easements drafted, referencing a plan, showing the easements on the plan. The easements are not shown on this plan, and subsequently, I'm concerned who's going to pay for that plan to show the easements. I have problems all the time. My DPW can't access sewer because they don't have access because no easement was ever set up. So I would like to see that language referencing a plan showing the easement. That's more of a statement. But you can answer the question with regards to the sewer. I mean, this is why I'd like someone from DPW to reference this. Citizens Bank sewer line goes where? It connects to our sewer line.
Let me have Mr. White respond to the issue of the sewer line because he has intimate knowledge of that. And then I'll follow up on your other comment.
Brian White, 145 Wayland Avenue. Yep. Cranston, Rhode Island. Brian, B-R-Y-A-N, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So the Citizens Bank had a backup to the main on Atwood Avenue, and they put a forced grinder pump and forced sewer up back of their property, which goes through Elmhurst and ties into Elmhurst's sewer line. That's been there I've lived in this house my entire life. They did this back in 2002-ish, I want to say. So that sewer line is connected. It's been there. We dug up DPW and myself. We found the drawings. You guys have it all documented. But that has been in that road. I've done dig safe back there. There's nothing underneath that ground. Like I said, I've been there my entire life. I'm 36 years old, so it's been a while since anything's been back there. But there's no overhead power. There's no underground gas. There's no water. I have everything on my civil engineering drawings from Joe Casale Engineering, sorry. They conducted all of that. So there is everything on documentation as far as what's underground and what's not above ground. So there's nothing there.
Can I have that drawing?
It's in the submittal package, like from the get-go. It's in the proposed documents that I sent in with all my drawings. Yep. The architectural set of drawings and engineering drawings.
While the clerk's looking for that, I'll allow Councilman Andujar to speak.
Mr. White, thank you so much for investing in Cranston.
Yeah.
I just have some simple questions because I build as well. Are you going slab on grade? Are you going foundation?
Foundation. Yep.
So more or less, are you going up and down or side by side?
It's a duplex side by side. Yep.
So I understand there's a cost and
Sure.
some people are for it, not for it. But what I could say is you're probably going to spend close to $350 north of that to build this duplex. So I really want to thank you for investing in Cranston again. And I think it'll be a great impact for the shortage of housing we have. So hopefully, you can get good tenants and,
Yeah.
make good money. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'm going to recognize Councilman Wall.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I may ask Solicitor Videcki to step up to the microphone. Because I have your questions kind of triggered a couple of questions of my own. I'm new to the abandonment. This is my first abandonment, so pardon me for my ignorance. But you brought up certain questions and concerns. With regards to the easements, is that a normal situation where we get the easements on the document prior to taking a vote on this as a council, or what's the protocol is basically what I'm
Well,
asking.
all I can tell you is that under the
code of ordinances that relate to abandonment, which I've read several times. That is not a requirement under the code. However, again, this committee, like the council, has discretion to basically do what they want to do. If they want to, if they're more comfortable doing something a certain way, that's fine. All I'm saying is it's not required under the code of ordinances. That's all I can say. Beyond that, it's within the discretion of the committee.
Thank you, Solicitor.
Let me just ask if anyone else wants, since it's your second time. Does anyone else on the council want to speak before I take a second chance at other council members? Councilwoman Haroyan?
So you need this so that you can build a two-family house, but you're gonna reside right next door on your property that you're living in now.
Correct. This is my backyard.
This is your
These
backyard,
woods. Yep.
and this
So
will be a rental property.
I'm planning on selling them. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna
Yeah.
sell them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
Um,
thank you.
If I may add.
Yes.
The reason why I have to reorient this house, to Mr. Murray's point, is Providence water to that 90 degree. If I can reorient the house 90 degrees, the water line will come straight into my house. And the other, I just want to make one other thing known. I called Rhode Island Energy, both gas and electric, and I spoke to them about their underground and above grade first statements, and they said that they don't provide, like they won't give me anything in writing. It's, you have to, like, once everything goes into plan, they will establish that, because they don't know where the power poles are gonna go. You know what I mean?
I'm going to go ahead and recognize Councilman Andujar.
So council, I could attest to what Mr. White is saying. As far as the easements are concerned, he doesn't own the property yet, so it does cost money to draw up easements and add them to the surveys and everything. So that's probably why you don't see the easements on the plan now. And as far as I was on Providence Water before, and the engineers over there tend to be picky. So I could feel him by the applicant, by Providence Water wanting the 90 degree. So I understand everything you're going through.
Does anyone else on the board want to say anything? I have one more item that I'm going to go ahead and recognize myself. You know, I guess it's also not clear if the town could have other options for this parcel, like stormwater. They could use it to add stormwater, or different types of rain gardens or something to assist with our MS4 permit. I mean, I think I'm a little bit concerned that we're just handing it over. And then what the fees are on our end, what are the legal fees for the city to do the transfer of land, and who's paying for that, drafting the title. But overall, I'm concerned about the sewer easement, so I'll say that I would really like to see that sewer easement for the town's protection prior to any issuance of abandonment.
With your permission, Madam Chairman, just quickly let me offer this. First of all, I appreciate the fact that it's not every month we do abandonment petitions. It's been a while, okay? I think I did the last one for the Dollar General at Park and Bud Lawn, based on my review of the records. They don't happen that often. I've done several of them. The form of the resolution that you have before you has been used in other abandonment resolutions. So this is not new to this particular project. Specifically, you know, and with Mr. Videcchia's, you know, involvement, I helped craft some of this language, just so you know. The city, as far as the preparation of the easements, the administrative subdivision, and any other documentation, and recording costs and filing fees is all on Mr. White. Okay, the city will incur no expenses. And that traditionally is always the way it's been. Okay, the resolution is subject to the granting of the easements. So my hope would be, for your consideration, is if the committee, who's already, you've, just a reminder, and you can revisit it, I appreciate that. But the committee already approved this once. But I would have no problem with a stipulation of a recommendation of approval here, that prior to the completion of this, the city's legal department review all the documentation. That's not, but I can tell you in all the other abandonments I've done, what I call the follow-up or trailer documentation usually happens after the council indicates their willingness to abandon it. In fairness to applicants, you go to that expense and you don't know, and we're all dealing in good faith here, and I appreciate that. And I sincerely appreciate the chairwoman's concerns, and I want to be responsive. So it's subject to the granting of the easements. If you look at the Capianato letter, they put in their letter that they understand that they would need to grant an easement because the sewer line kind of goes on a diagonal if you look at the plan. And so part of that sewer line for Citizens Bank is going to be on Mr. White's side of the road, and part of it's on the Capianato side. So, and I'm referring to this plan here that was in the packet. You can see the low pressure sewer line going through there. It kind of goes through on an angle. So, it will not, the easement from Mr. White and CGRI Cranston Atwood LLC, in all likelihood, I prefer to do one easement, but we could do two, whatever, they would, each party would recognize the existing sewer line there. So again, all you're determining with an abandonment resolution is that the road is no longer needed for highway purposes. That's the state law. That's what you're determining. If you look at my pictures and you went out there today, you could not drive down there. And the reason why the city never, in my opinion, in consultation with Ken Mason, the former public works director, the reason the city never finished it was because of its topography. Wooddale Avenue is not built to city standards. So the public works department and the planning department, saw no future value in the city retaining this. So it's an opportunity to get some compensation. It helps out a resident and a property owner. But in terms of, if the committee insists to see draft easements, I'll abide by that, and we'll accommodate that. I request that you consider approving it subject to the legal department, and I'll come back before the committee. I have no problem with that. But dealing with Capianato, there's a whole corporate bureaucracy I have to deal there to get through them in terms of the document, getting it approved, and but that's all on Mr. White and me. So I have no problem with that. So I hope that is responsive to your questions, Madam Chairwoman.
I hope last question, but nothing is going to be built over the sewer line easement, correct?
Nothing is going to be built on the area that's being abandoned. Only the water line will be extended through it into the house. Nothing, Mr. White's structure is going to be on his lot, which is outlined in this orange here. That's his lot right there. So nothing will be built over the sewer line. He's in the building trades business. He built the Citizens Bank, so he's intimately familiar with this. It just so happens, but he understands in the construction business, and how to do this, and certainly would never impact the sewer or the water in this abandoned road.
Thank you. I'm going to recognize Councilman Bonanno.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Murray has said that he's not against, on behalf of his client, the stipulations that the easements are seen at a later date. So I would like to see if we can incorporate that into the motion. Is it appropriate, Solicitor Videcchia, that we approve this subject to those stipulations that Chairman Graziano feels are,
Yes,
and I do too feel that are important.
yes, you may.
So I'd like to make a motion to amend. Go ahead, Richard. What's that?
Yes, I
So,
recognize.
I'm going to withdraw my
procedurally-
motion so you can make the motion.
Yeah, so Councilman Campiano's withdrawing the motion. I would like to make a motion to approve the resolution, subject to, the proper easements being recorded in the proper way, so as to ensure they're recorded properly. I don't know how to phrase it properly, but, I just want to make sure that I'm making a motion to approve this, subject to the easements being recorded, so that we do it the proper way for sewer or utilities.
So moved. Second.
Can I get discussion? I see none. Can the clerk do a vote?
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Bonanno,
Yes.
Councilman Andujar,
Yes.
Council Vice President Wall,
Yes.
Councilwoman Haroyan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Graziano.
No.
I apologize. Did that conclude the issue? Or we're done?
All set.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so next on the agenda, this is just a notification of street name change and number change. It's 1365R New London Avenue to 10 Liliana Way. And that was available on the agenda for the committee to review. Next is council communication. I don't have any. So I'm going to go ahead and see if there's a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Go 5-minute recess and we'll start ordinance. Call the Ordinance Committee meeting to order on Thursday, February 13th at 6:45 PM. Clerk, may I have a roll call?
Councilman Campiano,
Present.
Councilman Banano,
Here?
Councilwoman Graziano,
Present.
Councilwoman Haroyan,
Present.
Council Vice President Wall,
Here.
Councilman Andujar.
Present. Approval of minutes. May I entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes from the January 16th, 2025 meeting?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Clerk, please take a roll. Discussion, please? None. Clerk, please take a roll.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Banano,
Yes?
Councilwoman Graziano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Haroyan,
Yes.
Council Vice President Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Andujar.
Yes. Seeing that there are no matters carried over, I will open public hearings, public comment for anything on the agenda. Limit your comments to 4 minutes. Do we have anybody from the public that would like to speak on anything on the agenda? One at a time. Please state your name and address, please.
Gary DeRamo, 7 Lace Circle, Alpine Estates. And this is in regards to the zone change for Caraway. I know last year we had a parcel that was going for zone change from A80 to A20, and that was Sage. And a group of the neighbors in Alpine Estates were against it. We hired an attorney, and I just going to read one paragraph which pertained to that, which is a state law. And the Rhode Island state law does not compel city council to adopt the proposed ordinance. Stated differently, where a city or town council is reviewing a zoning petition that is proposed by an individual applicant or landowner, the members of the municipal legislative body can make a policy decision that aligns with the current interests of their constituents. So obviously, the governing body represents its constituents to make a decision. Now, there's approximately 370 houses in Alpine Estates. We were all against it, zone change, and we hired an attorney. Ultimately, it was defeated. As in the past 10 years, this has been going on for these zone changes. Now, last week, it went to the Planning Commission. And the results from the Planning Commission, the City Plan Commission voted 5-0 to forward a negative recommendation on the ordinance to the City Council. City Planning Department memo with further background information on this attached as reference. There was a unanimous opposition to the zone change by the residents who spoke at the hearing. The reasons cited included primary safety included, but were not limited to the 370 dwelling units sharing one egress in and out of the development being Alpine Estates. Now, there's a study going on that they want to possibly put a traffic light there. That's how bad it is. The second reason, other parcels of land with similar designations leading to further development would be an issue with all the other A80 zoning. And thirdly, the new comprehensive plan designates this as an A80 zone. So those are the reasons why the Planning Commission went 5-0, recommending a negative zone change. Now, I bought my house approximately 10, 11 years ago. My property abuts directly behind this particular parcel. I had a concern when I was going to invest into Alpine Estates regarding the property in back of me. I went to the city hall, did the research, saw it as an A80. I purchased my house with an A20 zone, knowing that if future development happened in the back of my house, at least I'd still retain some privacy, which is the reason why I purchased the house.
30 seconds.
Therefore, I made a decision to invest in Alpine Estates based on the zoning. The developer here invested in the parcel of land as an A80 zoning. In all fairness, I made an investment based on the zoning, and I highly encourage this body to reject the zone change.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment on matters on the agenda? Please state your name and address.
Hello, good evening. My name is Danielle Marland, and I reside at 41 Caraway Drive in Alpine Estates. My two daughters and my husband, John. Our property where we have lived for the past 10 years is directly adjacent to the terminus at Caraway Drive and right behind the property that was just referenced as well. I was here last week at the planning meeting and thought it important to be here again just to reiterate to you all what my position is. As I shared last week, our neighbors have been here pretty consistently over the past 6 years and have advocated to reject zone change requests for Peppermill Lane, Sage Drive, and now for Caraway Drive. We've long understood that a precedent could be set should the zoning change for either of those two streets. We knew this was coming down the pike, and so we've advocated strongly, and we've been here regularly to express our concern about that. Again, just to reiterate, you're gonna hear the same thing. These parcels of land were purchased as A80 parcels. And again, you know, those decisions were held at 880 for Sage and Peppermill. So permitting the rezoning of Caraway would be inconsistent with decisions previously made. And again, the landowners purchased that land understanding that they were zoned 880. Just to reiterate, and I know it was touched upon and you've probably heard it before, but residents of our neighborhood have shared legitimate concerns about the school capacity in Western Cranston, concerns about traffic internal to the neighborhood, but also on Situate Avenue and Comstock Parkway. There's dangers as it relates to just having one exit and one entrance out of that neighborhood. Kind of concerning again with that number of houses. And there's just concerns about the topography of the neighborhood that has changed since that original comprehensive plan was probably built. We've got a number of neighbors in this room who have issues with flooded basements, you know, pooling of water in front of their homes, and really just, again, think that should all be evaluated and considered in discussions and decisions such as these. So again, my husband and I, similar to Gary, understand that the zoning of the parcel adjacent to us, when we bought our home was A80. We bought our home right on the edge of that cul-de-sac, understanding that that was A80. And certainly the landowner should feel free to build at that zone. But again, we would strongly advise against accepting the zoning change, and we strongly oppose it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment on matters on the agenda? Please state your name and address, please.
Mildred Morera, 25 Caraway Drive, Cranston. My husband and I have lived in Alpine Estates for 36 years. Alpine Estates has experienced significant development in its infrastructure capacity in those 36 years. The current building trends are changing the area from a rural to a suburban character, resulting in a considerable loss of natural habitat, the natural beauty of the rural farmlands, woodlands, and wetlands in this area. Originally, the development consisted of approximately 190 homes with streets branching off the one entrance exit road, Alpine Estates Drive. With development over those 36 years, there is a total of approximately 400 houses still using this one entrance. With each home possessing a minimum of 2 cars, leaving and returning from work or school each morning and afternoon, with constant deliveries throughout the day, and other service providers traveling on Alpine Estates Drive, possess a major safety concern. School buses and parents from surrounding neighborhoods dropping off, picking up children at Orchard Farms in the morning and afternoon use Alpine Estates Drive as a cut-through to approach the school entrance to avoid the traffic jam in the school driveway. This is a major safety concern for children who are walking, as there are no sidewalks in this neighborhood and no crossing guard at this very busy intersection. As a retired teacher of Cranston Public Schools, I have spent my last 23 years as a 5th grade teacher at Gladstone Elementary, and I am well aware of the burden placed upon teachers in an overcrowded classroom and the negative impact it has on teaching and learning, creativity, and the engagement of learning activities for teachers and students as well. Orchard Farms is currently over capacity, as well as some of the classrooms. Orchard Farms is not exclusive to the Alpine Estates development. It provides education to many children from the surrounding neighborhoods of Western Cranston as well. By allowing this zoning change, the door opens for other landowners who fall under the zoning regulations of A80. New schools will be necessary, new land will be needed to be purchased, or additions will be needed to be added on to existing buildings. It is my understanding that the Garden City School project cost $46 million. It was completed in 2023. In June of 2023, Gladstone Street School was demolished, and a new state-of-the-art school is expected to open in September of 2026. Building the new Gladstone Elementary School, for example, was supposed to run the taxpayers $57 million. Instead, the price tag of the ongoing project was $83 million, and that was in 2023.
30 seconds.
What will the final cost and the impact on the city budget be when it's completed in 2026? Is the building of another school fair to us taxpayers at this time? We are here tonight to ask you to please consider our valid concerns and to listen to our voices. It is imperative that you reject this zoning change. You are holding the key. We urge you, do not open the door.
Thank you. Is there anybody else for public comment on matters on this agenda?
Good evening. My name is Trisha Rugas. I reside at 33 Caraway Drive with my 3 young children and husband. Over the years, I have communicated our concerns regarding the proposed zoning change for Caraway Drive and adjacent cul-de-sacs, both in person and via Zoom. Multiple representatives from our neighborhood, as well as previous and current council representatives, have consistently supported maintaining the existing A80 zoning classification for these parcels over the past 6 years. There are no compelling reasons to alter the zoning. The proposed change only benefits the landowner, who was aware of the A80 zoning change when the parcel was purchased. Our primary concerns include school capacity, increased traffic within and near the neighborhood, the single exit and entrance for over 400 houses, and the issues with flooding and pooling water due to the topography. Our children deserve to be able to play in a safe and quiet neighborhood with limited traffic. They deserve to attend a school that is not overcrowded or have classrooms that are beyond capacity. My husband and I strongly oppose the request to rezone this parcel to A20. Thank you to the committee for your time and careful consideration of the proposed change.
Thank you. Is there anybody else for public comment? Please state your name and address.
My name is Michael Stevens. I live at 25 Pine Ridge Drive. We've been at Pine Ridge ever since it was built about 18 years ago. Pine Ridge abuts the property we're talking about today. I was also at the planning meeting. I want to encourage you not to approve the zoning. My feelings are, as far as the developer and the presentation from the lawyer, there didn't seem to be enough research in terms of impact to the increased number of lots that they were going to do. Now, I found out at the planning meeting, it wasn't a requirement, but obviously it's an important piece here. We shouldn't be granting new zoning if we can't prove that, the new zoning with the additional number of housing is going to be satisfied with the traffic with the schools. So I encourage you not to approve the zoning. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Please state your name and address, sir.
Yes, my name is Paul Shumarian, 10 Pine Ridge Drive. So I'm in the development that's just north of the development that they're requiring go from A80 to A20. Our development was A80 at the time it was built. We moved in 2006 and it stayed as an A80. I encourage the board to reject the breakdown from A80 to A20. Some of the facts that I found, which reiterates many of the people that have come forth. The school is at its maximum capacity according to Department of Education, which is the Orchard Street School. If this parcel is developed as A80, I would think there'd only be 4 or 5 houses. But if you go to A20, you're going to about 15 to 20 more houses. I know they were talking about affordable housing, but that's not the right argument on this development. The other main thing, there's one egress coming in and out of Alpine Estates onto Situate Ave. I noticed just this morning, there was a lot of cars lined up to get out onto Situate Ave. And a lot of times the light at Comstock Parkway to go onto 295, the traffic is backed up from that red light all the way up to Alpine Estate entrance. So it takes quite a bit of time to go down. I noticed this morning, people didn't want to wait in line. They made a quick right-hand turn on Cranberry Terrace into the school parking lot. And I would think that's a dangerous area. Kids are crossing, they're coming off the buses. Sometimes some parents will cut across. It's just a mess. There's no police, there's no crossing guard. I'd hate to have one child hit by a car that's zipping through and a little ticked off, wants to get out fast. Another thing is if, God forbid, any kind of catastrophe happens on Situate Ave, it closes that entrance. There's no way for police, the fire to come in if there's another catastrophe going on in Alpine Estates. Let's see. I know they were talking about a traffic light at the Situate Ave, Alpine Estate Drive, which would make even a bigger mess. If you happen to go in Alpine Estate Drive, every intersection has a 4-way stop sign except Alpine and Caraway. It's a 2-way stop sign on Alpine. There's nothing on Caraway. And I know that a lot of cars will come and go. There's no stop, no slowing down at that intersection. I've called many a times the Department of Public Works. No 4-way stop sign has ever been put in there.
30 seconds.
So that's the main thing. I would think that it would be a hazard to add another 15 house lots, because if that passes, there's another development at Sage, there's another one at Peppermill, and there's probably others deep in Alpine. And I don't think Alpine can stand that many more house lots to be developed. So I urge you as a panel to defeat this measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment? Yeah, I think we should wait. Let's do public comment first and then we'll come to you. Mr. Technical Clerk, anybody online that would like to speak?
Yes, account name Gilmore's.
Please state your name, address, 4 minutes.
Hi, my name is Trisha Gilmore. My husband, Michael Gilmore, and I live at 4 Peppermill Lane, which is within Alpine Estates. So we've lived here for about 13 years, and for about 13 years, we've been part of the group that has opposed the various zoning, rezoning petitions. And so obviously this one for Ms. Scoralia, this is about 11 acres. And a quick search tells me that she also owns 44 additional acres just in Western Cranston, not including this Caraway parcel, right? So we're doing some math, those 44 acres at A80, that's 22 potential homes with what she owns. Rezoning those to A20, that's a lot more houses, right? So when you look at the potential Scoralia impact alone, it's not just this parcel. It's potentially 55 homes just from what I know from my quick search that she owns. And by the way, Caraway isn't listed on vision appraisal, which obviously means there's many more that aren't included. In the note from the planning department, the interim director, I believe it's Ms. Ashman's, she references that the Scoralia proposal talks about these houses being used to build homes for various income levels and affordable housing, which I'm not aware if maybe she knows they're going to be sold at a significantly lower value than everything in the surrounding area. If not, then that's an inaccurate statement because it's not going to create diverse income levels. It'll create income levels consistent with the area along with the very high taxes that everybody pays. So unless, of course, there's some plan for tax relief for these home buyers. So as that proposal indicates for Mrs. Scoralia, it talks about a mandate to correct based on the future land use map. And again, that's not true. These aren't mandates that are in this comprehensive plan because if they were, we wouldn't be here. It wouldn't be an option to refuse. The committee is allowed to make their recommendation, as you all know. That's why you're here. And Cranston isn't refusing regulatory compliance. It's just not true. These lots were purchased at 880, like you've heard, and it comes down to why are these people purchasing something that they ultimately don't want? Planning and the Scoralia legal representative, they continue to assert that it should be rezoned to be consistent with abutting areas. There are parcels that are A80 that abut that. And the intent, as we know, of Western Cranston was never to be cookie cutter blocks, all identical A20 zones. And if we continue to expand this A20 zone, then the next parcel will abut A20. Then the next parcel will abut A20, and so on and so forth. So where does it end? Unless the entire city is going to become A20. And each of these petitioners who purchased this A80 land, right? We've gone through it with Peppermill, with Sage, Caraway. It's the same story over and over again. They now want to demand that the city magically turn it into A20 for them. They want everyone to think that their situation's unique, right? But it's not. They're not unique. Their end goal is all the same. It's profit. Well, let's not just say profit, because they certainly have the ability to profit from the homes that they're currently able to build. They just want more profit, don't we all, right? They disguise this as making affordable homes. Affordable homes don't begin at $700,000 and $800,000. Each petitioner also tries to indicate that there won't be the ripple effect, which is, again, it's false because they reference each other's petition and they reference each other's case. So of course there'll be a ripple effect if the president is set with rezoning. So Mr. Scoralia himself has been at many of these previous meetings, and I'm certainly not thinking it's because he was bored. There's a vested interest in the outcome. And the timing of these rezoning attempts is also very frustrating and very interesting. This time, it's been done the right way. In the past, it's usually shortly after an election, during holiday season, peak travel season in the summer, first day students return back to school in the fall, previously notice to residents was lacking or not existing at all. They're all sneak attacks, hoping nobody notices and that they're able to slide it through with the help of their newly formed connections. And so Alpine cannot afford this extension, as many have stated, right? Go to the school, sit at the traffic lights. So we're asking you to do what's best for the Cranston residents and not the greedy developers. So our family is asking that you deny this rezoning request, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you. Clerk, anyone else?
Kristen.
online? Please state your name, address, and 4 minutes.
Hi, good evening. My name is Chrissy Narcissi. I reside at 22 Caraway Drive. I'm here tonight to echo a lot of what my neighbors have just said, and I've been here over the past 6 years at other meetings with Sage and Peppermill, all of which had to discuss rezoning to ask you to continue to support not allowing this terminus at Caraway to rezone. The terminus at Caraway, this cul-de-sac, and the other cul-de-sacs in Alpine, Sage, Peppermill, they're zoned A80, were purchased at the A80 zoning. They abut the properties that are also zoned A80, keeping them consistent with Pine Ridge. Therefore, I believe they should remain at A80. Most recent comprehensive plan updates actually remove the rezoning of these plots of land to keep them at A80. On Tuesday of last week, I attended the planning meeting, and at the time the topic was heard and the discussion was unanimously decided to vote for negative recommendation on this due to some of these things I've mentioned. I ask you before you vote on this to just consider what the purpose of rezoning it is. Who does it benefit? As my neighbors have stated, it certainly does not benefit Cranston at large or the existing neighbors in Alpine. The benefit is solely financial to the landowners, and these are landowners who will already benefit financially regardless should they choose to build at the current zoning. The pitfalls are plenty. First, and as it's already been discussed, it negatively impacts us with the existing one egress in and out as a safety concern and traffic issues. There's existing flooding issues in our neighborhood with high water tables. And I would imagine that would continue to get worse as we start to change the topography of the land. I think there could potentially be a strain on municipalities. And most important to me, it's greatly and negatively going to impact the already overcrowded schools. I'm a mom of children at the elementary and at the middle school level. I invite you to go there and volunteer or sit when school's getting out and see just exactly what the capacity is like. It has been stated previously that it is not in a good situation and we do not have the funds to build additional schools. So with all of that in mind, I ask you to please heed these concerns and the concerns of my neighbors here tonight. Please do not allow this land to rezone. Please don't cite outdated plans as reason for change. We're smarter than that. We have a new plan and we have all this great new information. Let's make better decisions and outcomes for the city of Cranston and the residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk, anyone else online?
John Marlin.
How you doing, sir? Or ma'am? Please state your name, address, and 4 minutes.
Yes, good evening. John Marland, 41 Caraway Drive, Cranston. So I'm here tonight. Again, I'm going to echo many of the comments that were made already by my neighbors. But my wife, Danielle, and I, she's present there tonight, along with our 2 daughters, purchased our home in 2014. And I remember asking very specifically of our realtor, hey, is the land behind us, is it able to get developed? And he at the time said yes, at A80. And my wife and I want to be clear, we are not opposed to the development at A80. They have the right to do that. That's totally fine by us. It's just we do not need any more homes above and beyond that. So tonight, I'm here to politely request your support to stop and vote this down and support the negative recommendation of planning. As already mentioned, many neighbors were present via Zoom or live at most recent planning meeting to voice their opposition to this proposed zone change, which has already been, to my understanding, extracted from the new updated Cranston comprehensive plan. We have water issues. We in fact have a triple sump pump in our basement because it pumps out every day. Our neighbors, the Rugases, who are also there tonight, they also have a sump pump, which also pumps out. So there's water issues. We've got, you talk about the houses here, 400 plus houses in Alpine Estates. You multiply that by the number of cars, right? So on average, two cars per family, 800 to 900 cars getting in and out of here every day. And in the morning, it is an absolute nightmare trying to get out of this compound. So I'd ask you to please support planning's recommendation and not move forward with the zoning change and keep things at A80. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Clerk, anyone else online?
Vana Num.
Hi, please state your name, address, and 4 minutes.
Hello, my name is Vana. I'm with 10 Lace Circle. I live directly across from Gary, who's the first person to speak tonight. Just want to address, I'm not normally a political guy by nature, retired military, retired law enforcement. First learned at Alpine about 20 years ago. being a product of immigrant parents from Cambodia, came here with couldn't speak an ounce of English. It was always my American dream to one day buy a land close to Alpine Estate. Took me almost close to 20 years doing that with my wife, working hard. She's a nurse now, and I came to the meeting last week, a couple of weeks ago in the planning meeting, just to see what was going on. And one thing I found interesting was the developer said they were trying to build affordable housing. I paid a good price for my house. There's nothing affordable about Alpine. I paid for a luxury price because I wanted to move to Alpine to provide a better environment for my daughter to grow up than the environment I grew up growing next to Chad Brown projects as a kid. That was a goal, and we finally got that. And just hearing the developer said that seems kind of deceptive to me. Sounds like they'll say anything that they want to say just to get the development here. I'm not opposed to them building the property they have. I'm just trying to build more than what they currently have. Had I known this was going to be the way it was, I probably would have never bought my house. I just moved here about 6 months ago, and I love the neighborhood. I got phenomenal neighbors. I echo what they said. I urge each and every one of you guys to consider this and to follow what the planning committee did and vote this down. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Clerk, anyone else?
Account name Susan.
Hi, can you please state your name, address, and you have 4 minutes.
Hi, my name is Susan Bucci. It's 67 Sage Drive. I've been at many of these meetings over the past, I'm going to say 25 years, because this issue has been going on that long. We couldn't make it there tonight, but my husband and I live right across from the Sage property, which is also part of the Caraway property. My neighbors have done a fantastic job outlining all of the issues that we've touched on over the years. I just want to add to that, my husband and I are strongly opposed to the zone change. And I hope that you look at this for what it is. It's not an affordable housing. And we hope that you can deny the zoning change. Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk, anyone else?
Account name Janice.
Hi, please state your name, address, and you have 4 minutes.
Hello, my name is Janice Cataldo. I live on Sage Drive in Cranston. I'm going to try to keep my comments under a minute because so many of my neighbors have really articulated the key points. So this parcel came to the council for a zone change many years ago, but was denied after the testimony from the residents. But at the developer's request, the parcel was added to the comprehensive plan with this wording: AP 35, Lot 3, comma 2, change the land use classification. I'm like, say what? We had no idea this was slipped into the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan never mentions Caraway, and the abutters were never notified. How does one person get behind city planning, ordinance, and the council and sneak a change in that they know the residents don't want? So we are not against expansion, and we understand the housing issue, but we just ask that landowners build under the rules when they bought their property. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Clerk, anyone else?
Joe Narcisi.
Hi, you please state your name, address, and you have 4 minutes.
Joe Narcisi, 22 Caraway Drive. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us, as always. As my neighbors have been giving a lot of the context behind the reasons we're against this, I'm going to skip over the fine details. Obviously, I agree with all of the points that my fellow residents are making. As many of you know, these issues regarding rezoning in Western Cranston are not new. There have been many discussions in the past over these, and as time has gone on, none of these arguments against rezoning have changed. As I've brought up in previous meetings, even at the planning meeting last week, rezoning this property serves no purpose other than making money for the developer. It doesn't provide a single benefit. The developer, along with their team, have been unable to provide a single benefit outside of financial gain, obviously. They bring their stacks of evidence, as they say, where they say all of the lots in Alpine are 20,000 square feet, but they neglect the fact that Pine Ridge, which directly abuts the Caraway property is zoned at A80. They come in and tell you that you have to rezone it for this reason and that, but the truth is you don't have to do it. You have to make a decision based on the facts. Committee's not here to just rubber stamp things and pass things through. That's not why these committees are formed. That's not why we draft the comprehensive plans or elect officials. These bodies are established to ensure that changes are positive for the city. The fact that there's no benefits and plenty of reason for pause should be enough to sway your vote. But if it's not, I just want to point out the two newer developments that should affect this. First, the newest comprehensive plan that was finally revamped a few months ago saw fit to remove this and the other similar properties from the future land use plan in terms of rezoning. That means after all of the community workshops, the planning meetings, city council approval, rezoning these properties did not make sense for the city. And furthermore, as others have referenced, last week at the planning committee meeting, they unanimously voted against rezoning this property. So given all of that evidence that everyone has presented, I believe it would take a truly significant community benefit for this even to start to make sense. And if they say housing, as other people have mentioned, this is not affordable housing. These are luxury homes, let's face it. So simply put, rezoning this property does not make sense. And we ask you to consider these factors and please side with your community on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk, anyone else online?
Account name Vin.
Hi, please state your name, address, and you have 4 minutes. Going once. Are you there, Vin?
They are not, they are unmuted on their side.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You have, please
Oh,
state
good.
an address.
Yeah, Vin McChrystal, 65 Sage Drive. I had written all of you an email, and I'm not going to repeat everything that my neighbors so eloquently said, but obviously we'd like you to vote down the zone change. We have fought long and hard for Sage, Peppermill, and now this, and we ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk, anyone else?
I'm seeing no other public comment.
I believe the solicitor has a comment on behalf of someone.
Yes, thank
For
you,
the
Chairman.
record.
I was contacted by Director Moretti, who couldn't be here tonight, but he wanted to relay that the mayor wanted to express his support for the neighbors and oppose this zone change application.
Thank you. I guess, is there no one else is online? I guess we will close public comment. Let's move to item number 6, new matters before the committee. 01-25-01 ordinance and amendment of chapter 17.84 of the Code of the City of Cranston, 2005, entitled zoning. Zoning change. Is the petitioner or anyone here on behalf of the applicant?
Mr. Chair,
Please.
I think we have to make a motion first. Motion to deny. Second. Mr. Campiano, I seconded it. Randy, go ahead. So we can discuss. So
All right, now let's discuss.
Yeah.
Right. Mr. Ritz, Councilman Ritz.
Although I'm not on the committee, this area sits in my ward, so I did want to speak about it. The rezoning of Alpine was a very frequent issue when I was campaigning. Still is a constant topic with residents I speak to, both in Alpine and outside of Alpine. I know we need more housing in Cranston, but it cannot come at the cost of changing why Cranston is such a great city to live in. People are worried about the future impact that this would have. The comments we heard tonight are the same comments I've consistently heard from the residents. The impacts on the schools, the traffic issues, entering and exiting the neighborhood, flooding issues, and it changing the landscape for the neighbors currently living in Alpine. This is further supported by the negative recommendation from the planning department. I ran to be the voice for the community, and the voices are clear and united on this issue. I was a no vote to move this to ordinance, and I'll continue to be a no vote if this moved to the full committee. I urge my fellow council members to listen to the community and vote no to this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Bonanno.
I see that there's a representative from the applicants here. And I have a couple questions, if I may, through the chair.
Yes, you may. Please state your name, address, and
My name is, excuse me, my name is Americo Spenzio. I'm an attorney. I represent the applicant, Margaret Scaraglia. My office address is 146 Westminster Street in Providence, Rhode Island.
I just have a couple questions. And I think some of the residents asked these questions in their comments. However, I do, I want a couple answers. My first question is, was it stated by either you representing the applicant themselves, or somewhere from your side that this could be, might be, or would be affordable housing?
News to me, never. That was
Okay.
It was news to me. That was never a representation made by my client at all.
Okay, all right. Nobody on your side, none of your witnesses, none of your, guys, not in between.
Well,
Yeah.
Mr. Pimento's here.
Public
He did have an
comment.
expert report, so there may have been some issues in his report.
Yeah.
Okay,
What I-
so just state your name.
Edward Pimentel, that's Pimentel. I appreciate that the neighbors don't want this development, but I'm sorry, I will not allow false allegations. You can go get a recording of it. What I said on the record is that 50 to 75% of the work I've been doing in consulting is housing, because we have a housing crisis in affordable housing.
Sure.
I didn't connect affordable housing to this development. Absolutely, there's not an affordable housing development. An affordable housing development, first of all, has to be certified by Rhode Island Housing. That's why we have a thing called the comprehensive permit, the affordable housing statute.
All right.
The city of Cranston is one of a handful of communities that meets the criteria, not because we provide our 10% affordable housing in this community.
Okay.
We have the exemption under the rental.
All right, so that was not coming through in what the public understood. So it's my job to make sure that we're all on the same page here, and that the folks that are here and online and in the neighborhood realize that this is not going to be affordable housing. Okay, and that answers my question on that. You can't take, and it doesn't look like you have, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You can't take one of the most affluent neighborhoods in our city and contend that there's going to be affordable housing there. Doesn't make sense. So that answers that question. My next question is, how does this help the city? How does this have a positive impact on the residents around this particular parcel that you would like to change to 820? And how does it benefit the city of Cranston as a whole?
So I think that the argument, though, is more of a legal argument from the applicant's standpoint, and it goes to the heart of the argument being that under the comprehensive plan for which this application is based upon, which is the plan prior to September 30th, that this property was designated in that comprehensive plan.
With all due respect, Attorney Scungio, that's not answering my question. I'm not a lawyer, okay?
Well, that's the gist of the application.
That's fine. My job as a city councilor, we have city solicitors, we have council attorneys, which we talked about at length at the last meeting. My father's a lawyer, okay? And sometimes, when he asked me if I took a cookie when I was 7 years old, was a much more detailed question than yes or no. So I am fully competent and cognizant of the fact that attorneys use the laws for their particular arguments, and the opposing attorneys are to use the laws for their particular arguments, and then a judge gets to decide that. It's not my role here. My role here is to do what I was elected to do and ask about the well-being of the city of Cranston, the entire city of Cranston. So my question is, just to reiterate, how does this benefit the city of Cranston and its residents?
There will be more homes that will generate more tax dollars to the city of Cranston.
Okay, very good. Do you know the average cost of a student to the city of Cranston in the public schools?
I do not.
It is $16,000 approximately. So with 2.5 children, let's give you the benefit of the doubt and say 2 children in each house. That is $32,000 expended to the city of Cranston. So you're contending that each one of these houses built will generate more than $32,000 in taxes?
There's more to it than that, because you have more residents in the city spending money in the city and leading to the economy. So there's no way to.
We do, that's correct. There's more houses, there's more streets to, not just the kids I'm talking about in schools. There's more streets to plow, there's more streetlights to put in, and there's a lot more of the infrastructure that needs to be done. So again, I think, and I won't beleaguer the point, I think I already have, that the residents have a cogent and salient argument in the fact that this does not benefit their neighborhood and it does not benefit us here budgetarily. So who does it benefit? That concludes my remarks.
Councilman Wall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me first by stating this. Unfortunately, Council President Marino couldn't be here this evening, and she asked me, she's at her son's open house tonight. She asked me to read this short statement on her behalf. I will not be in support of this change in zoning, as I believe that this property should remain in A80 in order to be consistent with the updated comprehensive plan, which I believe also reflects, and we could see this evening, the desire of the neighboring community. That's her statement. On my own, I won't belabor the point. I share some of the same points as the neighbors and my colleagues. I will be voting no on this zoning change. It doesn't go with the updated comprehensive plan. The neighbors seem to be adamantly against it, and I know that the Plan Commission did give it a negative recommendation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Councilwoman Graziano.
Thank you. I would just like to start to say that I have a different spin on it. My spin is going to be infrastructure. So I'm severely concerned about the sewer capacity. I have not seen I&I infiltration and inflow testing completed for the sewer system. I also don't have information on the existing sewer capacity as it relates to the pollution district. I'm concerned about firefighting and water pressure. I haven't seen any testing done on pressure for this new proposed facility, subdivision. I'm also concerned about impacts to wetland resources. If you don't know, I'm a wetland scientist, so I'll be super concerned about the amount of impervious surface in this area. And then soil suitability. I have concern about, the neighbors mentioned high water table. That's a huge concern for me when it comes to meeting the stormwater management regulations and separation for stormwater management controls for larger subdivisions. I also would like to say that I support the Planning Commission. I have faith in them that they are providing a recommendation to our committee, and we should take it into serious consideration. So I'm going to take that into consideration.
Councilman Campobano.
Thank you, Chair. As always, I stand with the citizens of Alpine Estates. I want to commend Councilwoman Graziano for bringing up the high water table, living in that area and being in representative of that area for the last 3 years. It is a problem. I use the analogy of a pot of boiling eggs on the stove. You keep adding an egg and that water gets higher and higher and higher. And I witnessed basements that were flooded, and these things happen right after housing is put in next to it. So, and if you think about it, these are the last parcels, and usually the last parcels are the worst parcels. So there's wetlands and there's concerns. There's a reason why they weren't built in that time. So again, I just want to restate, I stand with the citizens of Alpine, and I'll be voting against this development.
Is there any other council members? Well, I want to speak. I just want to say, when it comes to affordable housing and people shoot it down, I feel insulted. I grew up eating the cheese, eating the peanut butter. It's the American dream to live in Alpine Estates. It's a beautiful neighborhood. Everybody that bought a house there now and before understood that it's dead ends. Everywhere there's a dead end. I understand the applicant, why they're asking for 820 is because everyone else is 820, except for Pine Ridge. But I do want to I also want to let you know that there are also parcels that are 820 that are pretty big, especially on Bluebird Lane. I did call the schools. The school's not over capacity. The school, matter of fact, is losing kids to charter schools. So I want you to keep that in mind. But I am a team player. I hope that this doesn't discourage the developer from investing in our city. But I am a team player, and I will be voting no, following the guidance of Councilman Ritz. Thank you. So I think we're going for a
Can I
vote
just
now.
be heard for 1 minute? I just want to make sure.
Yes,
that-
you could, can
I
be.
just want to make sure that Mr. Pimento's report, which was, I believe, given to the clerk, is part of the record. And if not, he can paraphrase his report on the record.
Say we just paraphrase it. If you could come up and paraphrase your report, please.
Well, first of all, let me also submit.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion to accept.
Second.
I know.
Could we take a vote on that second to accept these documents into the record?
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays?
Okay.
Spester.
Well, I mean, basically, so I have been before this ordinance committee now on several occasions with the other properties as well. And when we ask, sure, when we ask, well, how does it benefit the community, right? My role is to look at what the community's desires are. I don't come to a community and say, you know what, we have A80 zoning. Let's try to get A20 zoning. This community put together a comprehensive plan, which is a rather elaborate process. It's got to be well vetted. It goes through a lot of public hearings and meetings, and it culminates in the future land use map. And it was the determination of this community, and then it was further reemphasized in your Appendix A, that these properties should be rezoned to A20. That is why I'm here. If this community had concluded then that this property wasn't proper for A20, I wouldn't even be here. So it wasn't a matter of my pursuing something to say to you, you should take this, it's better for you. It's this community informed me this is what the desires were. That's why we're here. And to further emphasize that, because we do have a housing crisis, and because we're one of the few states in the entire United States where comprehensive plans have legal authority. In the majority of the states in the United States, comprehensive plans are just advisory documents. Massachusetts, their master plan is advisory. In Rhode Island, the comprehensive plan is the authorizing document, and zoning is just a tool to realize and effectuate those goals. So comprehensive first, then zoning ordinance. That's been further reemphasized by the state legislature just as of March of 20 and 24, where they actually stated now that all land use decisions will be based on the future land use map. So if you have an inconsistent zoning, and I come before the planning commission, and your future land use map says one thing, but the zoning says something else, now the law says you rely on the future land use map. That's as of March. And in March, this comprehensive plan still designated that this property should be classified as medium density residential. That is why we're here. It's because it was the guidance that was provided by the comp plan as adopted and authorized by the council. That's why we're here.
Thank you. So, Councilman Banana.
So, Mr. Pimentel, you and I have many, many times, and I have a great deal of respect for the work you did. Every time you came to the zoning board, you know, you were considered an expert, and I have great respect for you in your field.
Thank you.
And I just want you to know that. The comprehensive plan changed, didn't it?
It did. It did. And you know what? And because I respected that process, and I actually stated this on the record before the Planning Commission, over the last several years, the argument has always been, how can we accept a comprehensive plan that's dated? Right? That's been the argument. My response to that was, but when it was adopted in 2010, amended in 2012, the data was fresh then. The zoning should have been done then. It's the obligation of the municipality. When you conclude inconsistencies, the law says you're supposed to do it within 18 months. It's not the obligation of the property owner. The property owner didn't conclude an inconsistency. The community did, but nothing got done for several years. So obviously, an applicant or a property owner brings forth and pursues that which the community has already concluded, right? Ultimately, what the property should be zoned. The data was fresh then, so the argument couldn't have been valid then that the data was not fresh. But out of respect, because it was also stated to me on Sage Drive we're worried about the school system. We're worried about the school system. That was the overarching concern, stated many times. I said, you know what? Let me review the new comp plan. There must be data in there that supports why they removed these particular properties from the inconsistencies map. This city, there's 39 cities and towns. I've worked in all 39. This city has the most extensive listing of inconsistencies I've ever seen. There was 1,381 inconsistencies, and all that was dropped off was 13 out of that 1,381, including the 3. And you know what the new comp plan said? It said that the school system is declining in population, and it says that on every level it's stable. So the information that was dated and said that should be the information why we should deny that now states otherwise, completely contrary for the reasoning. I read it, it's in my report. That's why I couldn't understand why all of a sudden out of 1,381, just 13 properties, including the street.
I mean, I don't know why that is, but I'm not worried about 1,381 right now. I'm worried about one. And, you know, having a spouse, my wife is a teacher in this district. She's a teacher in some of the neighborhoods that are affected by this one. I can tell you that there's a lot of kids in that school. There's a lot of kids in the middle school. I know there's a lot of kids coming out. I mean, Frank would be able to tell you his kids, I believe, go there. You know, whether or not it rises to, you know, it's overcrowded at the legal definition, I don't know. But when you're comparing the schools in Cranston, you know, as we look at the city as a whole, the schools on the eastern side have a very different population than the schools on the western side. We are one Cranston, but you know, you have to look at the schools as you know, each individual school, not necessarily as the entire city. You know, we want to do the best for the entire city, but the most effective way is to look at each individual school. You know, like I said, my point in asking the question is the comprehensive plan changed, and this property, this one property, the comprehensive plan changed with respect to this property, whereas the old one said, yeah, it should be 820. The updated comprehensive plan, based on all the studies and all the work that goes into updating that, says, yeah, maybe you should leave it alone. And that's my point. You know, and like I said, it's no disrespect to you. You know, that was the point in asking the question.
No, none taken. But the question was, how does it benefit? And like I said, my point is, when somebody asks me to do an analysis and says, hey, you know what? I've got a property, it's 2 acre zoning, but I'd really like to make it 1/2 acre. And I look at the vision in the comprehensive plan, say, well, there's nothing here to support that vision. You might like to have that, but it isn't. But when you look at a comprehensive plan and it recommends that it be done, I'm like, well, that is also the vision of the community. And that's why I can support it.
Thank you. So there's a motion on the floor right now for denial by Councilman Campuano, seconded by Councilman Bonanno. Clerk, may I take a roll?
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Bonanno,
Yes.
Councilwoman Graziano,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horoyan,
Yes.
Council Vice President Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Andujar.
Yes. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. Council communications, nothing there. So I would like to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay. Ayes have it.